Damn guys, something came in the mail today. What is in this box right here? Let me open it real quick. Need this. It seems we have a wild... Wow, look how they package this shit. Crying out loud. Alright guys, I need to literally get the scissors out and cut this. So, yeah, they wrapped the hell out of this shit, so... Alright guys, we finally got it. As you can see, we have a wild FL Studio. Let's open this up. So you guys finally opened it and here it is. FL Studio. British edition. All legit. If you're wondering what's in the box, it's literally just the manual and the activation key.
Hey, what's up guys, it's AndreOth here, and yeah, I'm switching sides. So guys, let me apologize for the different sounds that you're gonna hear in the background of the video. I believe there's people doing work on the houses around me, so there's gonna be some knocking noises, which is a bit annoying, but yeah, my apologies for that. So guys, let me explain why I decided to switch over to FL Studio. There's quite a few reasons. I'm gonna try and keep them condensed and only explain the main reasons. And just a disclaimer, this isn't a video about how Logic is bad and FL Studio is way better. This is just a video explaining why me personally I feel like it'd be a good idea to switch over, and maybe if you guys listen to some of the reasons that I give, maybe you guys might consider moving over too. But yeah, it depends on you. So guys, how this begun was at the start of the year, obviously 2021. At the start of the year, I was making beats in Logic. I recently updated my Logic to the newest version. Then I was experiencing a lot of issues. It was crashing a lot. I was having a lot of issues with overloading. Like I was just putting in normal melodies, and when I'd play my melodies back, my computer would slow down and I'd start to get like an overload error message pop up on Logic, which is quite different. This has never really happened before, so I'd never really been experiencing these issues before with Logic, and it got so bad to the point where it was just crashing and I just wasn't able to make beats. And this was the start of the year, so I was super motivated to start knocking beats out, and I was getting really frustrated with Logic just not really working like how it used to work before. And this kind of prompted me to kind of look around and maybe consider other doors. I wasn't going to make the switch at that point, but I just wanted to kind of just think about maybe switching over to a different door, even until I can get my Logic to start working properly. But yeah, the main reason why I decided to switch to FL Studio, because obviously, like I said, I was experiencing issues with Logic, so I decided to do my research into other doors. I only really looked at FL Studio just because Ableton and these other doors didn't really appeal to me. I was always kind of interested in FL Studio, so I only looked into that. What I was really looking for was speed and efficiency and workflow. One of my biggest flaws as a producer is really efficiency and being able to knock out multiple beats every single day. Just historically, I've never really been that kind of producer, and I really want to kind of develop that skill, especially this year. I want to kind of improve on some of my weaknesses, and that's one that I wanted to improve on. And FL Studio, pretty much, their strength was really my weakness. So their strength was really workflow, speed, efficiency, ease of use, and that's something that was a weakness for me in Logic. Everything was kind of overcomplicated and just took longer than it really needed to. So there's tons of things with FL Studio that makes it easier to use, more efficient, and there's so many different features that allow you to just get your idea down as quick as possible. For example, like the piano roll. Everybody knows about FL Studio's piano roll. It's pretty much goated at this point, and one thing I love about it is just the shadow notes, the fact that you can make a melody, move on to the drums, you can see the melody in the kind of shadow notes that you played, which makes it easier to do your kicks, which especially makes it easier to do the bass lines and stuff like that. And obviously the helpers that FL Studio has makes it super easy to do a melody, super quick, especially to do the bass line as well. And when I was watching these videos of other producers producing on FL Studio, which I normally do, but I didn't normally pay attention to them because I was always using Logic. So when I started paying attention to these other producers producing on FL Studio, I just saw how quickly they do the melody, the bass line, the drums, just because of how FL's design is designed to make everything quick and easy and simple. And then another thing, like the drum rack, I think that's what you call it with FL, where you can just drag your drums and stuff like that. You know, with Logic, it's not really as easy as just dragging the drums over. You know, so if you want to use Ultra Beat, you can do that, but a thing with Ultra Beat is when you do like the hi-hats, for example, and you do the kicks and the snares and stuff like that, and you take out the MIDI file and you separate them. You know, with the hi-hats, you can't even change the notes and stuff like that. You kind of have to find another technique to do that. So you have to just drag the hi-hats in as a sample and stuff like that. And if you want to use the drum machine designer, it's kind of hard to just drag sounds in. You have to open the drum machine designer and then drag the sound in, then close it, then play it to hear how it sounds. And the main issue with Logic is that everything kind of feels like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more steps to do something than in FL. So in FL would be 1 step to do something, 1 click to do something. And with Logic, I noticed that everything was, you know, 2 steps, 3 clicks, 4 clicks to kind of achieve the same thing. And just another weird thing with Logic that I experienced was, you know, Logic couldn't really preview sounds that were 32-bit. So obviously Logic has that library window to the right and you can preview sounds, but one thing I noticed that I couldn't preview every single sound from the drum kit that I was trying to listen to, because I believe Logic doesn't preview sounds at 32 bits. I think it only stops at 24 bits, and that's really annoying because when people do their drum kits, they render out a lot of their sounds at 32 bits. So you're listening to a drum kit and you can only really hear like 10% of the drum kit. So what you have to do in Logic, you have to open up the Finder, preview sounds that way, and then drag them into your project. And again, it's just that thing that I was talking about before, with just taking 1 to 2, 3 more steps, whereas with FL Studio, it's just 1 click, you just drag the sound straight in. And there's so many different examples like that that I noticed when I watched other producers producing FL Studio, that I'm thinking, well, when I produce in Logic, like this normally takes like multiple steps. And obviously there's other things too that are just much easier in FL than in Logic, but obviously I haven't really used FL enough right now to notice those things, but I'll let you guys know these things over the next couple of months and weeks and stuff like that when I actually really start getting into FL. And another thing with FL that I really liked was just that there's so many producers that use it. You know, if you go on YouTube, it feels like almost 80% of producers use FL Studio. You know, there's so many producers that are super talented and so many industry producers. You know, I know you guys see guys like Nick Mera and stuff like that, who's always on YouTube and Twitch producing with FL Studio. And that leads me to my next point, is just that there's so much more information out there about FL Studio, so many tips and tricks about, you know, making melodies, kicks in your bass and making them hit harder, and just mixing and mastering and just things of that nature. You know what I mean? And obviously there's information out there about Logic as well. There's a lot of great producers that use Logic, you know, guys like, you know, Ocean, Bolon, Stefan Guy, I'm Music Mogul, who do help a lot, and they do a lot of tutorial videos on Logic and stuff like that. But like I said, there's just so much more guys who use FL, and there's so much more information out there about FL. I just feel like I could get better at FL than I could at Logic, just because there's so much more information out there about FL Studio. And that's not just in YouTube, but just in blogs and forums and stuff like that too. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to move to FL. Yeah, another thing that I really liked about FL was really about the development team. You know, Image Line, like I'm on their YouTube channel now. Like when you go on their YouTube channel and they come up with like, I mean, the fact that they even have a YouTube channel, I don't even think Logic even has a YouTube channel like that. The fact that Image Line embrace, especially the hip hop producers, they always talk about, you know, Boy Wonder, Metro, Murder Beats and stuff like that. They feature these guys on their website. Whenever they have a new update, they do the update videos, and you see a whole bunch of people, you know, in the comments saying, thank you guys so much for adding this feature, adding that feature. Like they really listen to their community and stuff like that. Whereas with Logic, you don't really know who the developers are, you don't know what they look like, they're not really engaged in the community, and they don't really seem like they're that focused on the community and what the community are asking for. They're kind of just these distant beings that nobody ever sees or nobody ever gets to contact. So that's one little small thing that I like about FL. And another thing too that I forgot to mention is just drums. You know, drums in FL, like everybody knows about drums in FL. And I think one of the things that make people's drums kind of just hit harder in FL is just things like soft clipper and like fruity limiter, which again are some goated limiters and goated compressors. They just help your drums to really bang. And that's something that I always kind of struggled with Logic, is really being able to just turn the drums up and turn the kicks up and turn the bass up without Logic kind of just compressing everything. Because when things peak in Logic, Logic doesn't really play well with that. So they really limit stuff and they make things sound really distorted, and they don't really have a soft clipper or a limiter like FL do. I know you can probably figure something out, like there's a tip you can use overdrive and stuff like that, but it's just not quite the same thing as soft clipper and limiter. And I think those two things really help people's drums to hit harder when they're using FL. So I think that's another strength of FL. That's a weakness with me, because I want my drums to hit harder. And with FL, I feel like it's easier to do that. There's less steps. You just put the limiter or the clipper on it and you can have your drums and you can crank them up and stuff like that. So I think FL Studio drums, that's a real thing. I don't really think that's a myth. I feel like your drums really do bang harder when you're in FL. And another thing too, and this is one of the last points, is this isn't really just about FL and Logic, like technically speaking, like their actual DAW themselves. This is really about kind of my future plans, you know. So I currently use like a MacBook Pro, and that's cool. It does the job, but I would like something more powerful, and I definitely would like something with more memory and something that has expandable memory. So I do want to eventually, maybe this year or next year, make a gaming PC, so build one from scratch and just build like a beast kind of desktop that can handle obviously making beats, video editing, photo editing for thumbnails and stuff, and streaming as well, because that's something that's becoming more prominent in the producer community, and you kind of need like a good solid computer to stream and make beats comfortably without there being any lagging or overloading or anything like that. And obviously certain VSDs and stuff like that, you kind of need to have more RAM, you need to have just a more powerful machine to run certain VSTs smoothly. So obviously I want to build a gaming PC, and obviously with PC and Windows you can't use Logic, right? So you're limited when you use Logic to Mac computers. So that's one reason why I want to move to FL Studio, is because that allows me now to really build that PC and feel comfortable building it, because I know I can produce on it, because obviously I can get FL Studio on Windows. If I was to build a PC, then the thing I'd be doing the most is producing, and obviously I can't do that if I have Logic, and having FL Studio allows me to have a PC now without worrying about it. And you guys probably don't know this, but I also used to make videos with Final Cut as well, and one of the reasons why I moved from Final Cut to Premiere is just because I knew in the future I'd eventually want to build a PC, and obviously I couldn't really do that if I edited most of my videos in Final Cut, which is exclusive to Apple products as well. So that's why I wanted to move to Premiere. So yeah, doing this move kind of got me out of the Apple algorithm, so now I have more freedom, more leeway, so I can use a PC now. So I'm not just limited to just Mac, which is the case if you produce on Logic. So I can use a PC now and build that PC like I pretty much always wanted to. And just another little side note, apparently another thing with FL Studio is free updates. So when you look at the box and stuff like that, you know, is written all over the box. It's like free updates, you know, even if you have FL8, you can get the FL20 upgrade for free. And I know other DAWs, some of them don't have free updates, like apparently Logic doesn't have free updates. So I think when they had like Logic 8 and Logic 9 and stuff like that, it actually costs to update it. I haven't really paid for an update with Logic yet, but I feel like in the future, maybe if they have Logic 11, they could potentially charge you for it, but people don't really know. I haven't done research on that, people don't really know, but it is a possibility that they could charge for, you know, Logic 11 and stuff like that. So I feel like FL Studio is just a better value for money. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think those are all of the main reasons. There's other little small things here and there as well. Yeah, I think those are the main reasons why I decided to make the switch. And yeah guys, and in terms of the future of this channel and what this means, basically I want to start doing FL Studio content now. Obviously I just want to get used to FL Studio for a bit and make sure I know enough to start doing tutorial videos and stuff like that. So I'm going to get into FL Studio I'm gonna start cooking up and stuff like that to practice, just to make sure I'm giving you guys the right advice and, you know, I'm making sense in these tutorial videos. But yeah, I feel like this is a start of a new era for the channel, you know, the FL Studio era. Obviously we've been doing Logic for like 3 years now, but obviously, you know, I haven't built a huge fan base on this channel yet, so I think making that switch would make sense now, rather than if I had like 10,000 people watching all of my videos for me to then switch to FL Studio. I think my channel will take a hit, you know, so I think it's perfect timing right now when I'm on the come up to make the switch, so I can build an audience of people who like FL Studio content. And that's another pro of, you know, using FL Studios. Now I'm exposed to a different audience and a much bigger audience of people who use FL Studio. But yeah man, this is the start of a new chapter on the channel, a new era, FL Studio era. Most of the content, pretty much all the content on the channel now will just be FL Studio based. I might still put Logic in there, you know, maybe I might even do both. Maybe I might do Logic and FL Studio videos. But I think I'm probably just gonna stick to FL from here on out. So hopefully you guys still mess with me, and yeah, I'm excited for pretty much a new era on the channel, a new start. You know, it's a new year, new me, and I'm excited to see what the future holds with FL Studio. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did like the video though, please hit the like button down below and subscribe for more, because I have way more videos like this coming out every single week. If you guys want to purchase any beats from me, you can click the link in the description down below, because I have an offer going on for 10 free beats. So if you want the offer, click the link in the description down below. And if you guys want, you can follow me on Twitter, you can follow me on Instagram for all the latest updates, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.